Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you've been enjoying the marathon so far. I am Galasrinie and I'm going to be doing Bayonetta, new game, 80% normal, no infinite fluke glitch. I hope you will enjoy this run. This is my first time at a marathon, so I'm pretty nervous, but I'm also pretty excited to get to show this run. So I hope you'll enjoy. Timer starts on difficulty select, which will be in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so yeah, welcome. This is Bayonetta. Bayonetta is a hack and slash game by Platinum Games. The first part of this game is just an auto-scroller, so there isn't too much for me to do for this first segment, but it'll give me an opportunity to explain a few things. So, at the start of the game, we get introduced to two of the main characters. On the left is Jean, and on the right is Bayonetta, who is the character that we are going to play for this speedrun. Okay, so like I said, this is just the auto-scroller part. You might notice right now that there is a narrator giving a bit of background. He has a bit of dialogue to read. Sometimes what can happen is that the final sentence of his dialogue can get cut off. So we just have to wait and see if we get that extra bit of time saved. But this is a good time to catch up on any donations, if any donations need to be read. If you'd like to read any. Or that's okay. So unlike Devil May Cry, where you verse demons and devils, in Bayonetta you verse angels, so that's the opposite. In this auto-scroller part, we get introduced to a few of the smaller angel types. We also see, you might see there's a snake-like angel in the back there. We're going to see him in a few of the chapters as well. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to show this run because this run doesn't always get shown at marathons, so I'm very thankful that I get to show it today. Yeah, this is just a auto-scroller. And there's a lot that goes on in this run. This run is pretty action-packed, as you can imagine, from a hack and slash game by Platinum Games. So I'll try and explain the main things where I can. Where I cover. Okay, that's cool. That's okay. Just letting you know. Yeah. Minus in the back there is a larger angel with some dragon heads. His name is Fortitudo, and we're going to be seeing him quite a bit in early game.
I actually got a donation.
Okay, yeah, you can read it.
Okay, I have a $20 donation from RZR who said, Gala Gala, she is your gal. She's the cutest of them all. Good luck with Bayonetta.
Thanks, Razor. Razor ran before me. He did the Dark Souls 3 run. Thanks, Razor. So the final line of the dialogue is coming up right now. See, all but one. However, the narrator only said the word all. So sometimes with speedrunning this game, we just have to wait and see if we get that extra bit of time saved from the narrator cutting off his dialogue. So this is the prologue, the vestibule. Bayonetta ends up in a cemetery and there's going to be some angels. What I'm going to be doing here is lifting them up and then ragdolling them and trying to push them into each other to try and clear them out. Something you might notice while I defeat the angels is that there are these golden rings that pop out of their body. They've been said to look a little bit like Sonic rings. And they are halos, and that is the main currency of the game. You kill angels, and halos pop out of their body, which is great. So there are some smaller flying angel types here. Just have to shoot them down. In the next wave, there is a mix of both, so I'm going to be doing the ragdoll move again to try and push them into each other. There's one here, let me get you. One thing about this cemetery is for some reason they thought it was a great idea to be able to lock on to the gravestones, but thankfully that's not really happening right now, so that's cool. Now, you might notice these multicolored spheres underneath Bayonetta's health bar. That is called the magic gauge, and when Bayonetta has a full magic gauge, she can perform this, which is called a torture attack. And we do that to the larger enemy there because he has quite a bit of health, and doing that to that enemy specifically will one-shot him, so that clears him out very fast. Cool. Now, in the next segment, like I said, torture attacks, it's a requirement to complete 3 torture attacks in order to progress. So what I'm going to be doing for this segment is I start off with a full magic gauge, so I can perform 1 straight away. And now, holding down my combo so that Bayonetta will shoot a lot of bullets from her hands and her feet, I'm going to try and fill the magic gauge up as fast as possible to perform 3 torture attacks. What I need to look out for though is to make sure I don't get hit by enemies, because if I get hit by enemies, they can take my magic gauge away from me, so I just have to be careful of that.
You have a short moment?
Yeah, sure.
I got 2 donations. I got a $10 donation from Indorate Ties. Oh, I'm really bad with pronouncing names, sorry. Gala is cute, also good luck, Gala. You got this. White people happy. And we have a $100 donation by Plamer.
Oh,
said,
wow.
Hey Gala, good luck on the run. Go Valuethon.
Thank you so much, Playmer. In between chapters, there's a minigame called Angel Attack. I didn't play it there, but I'll be playing it a bit later, so I'll get to explain it then. So this is Chapter 1, The Angel's Metropolis. There's a bit of movement tech in this chapter. What I'm going to do is a movement which is called Jump Punch Cancelling, where pressing the jump and the punch button together will give you a slightly faster movement. We also use the dodges in the game to go a little bit faster. Some doors require you to do damage to them for them to break open like that, which you're going to see quite a bit along the run. Down here there is a key. We collect the key, and there are some enemies that spawn behind us, but going straight to the door, it's unnecessary to deal with them, and we just put the key in and keep going. After interacting with this statue, there'll be some more enemies who pop out, so I'm going to be performing the same ragdoll move to them to try and clear them out. So, in about, 10 seconds. Now, after Bayonetta interacts with this statue again, once it's reformed, it will cast a lightning bolt, and dodging that lightning bolt, Bayonetta gets Witch Time. Witch Time is probably one of the most important mechanics in the game, which allows time to be slowed down. Bayonetta can get Witch Time whenever she dodges something that could do damage to her, whether it's an enemy or something in her surroundings. And when time is slowed down in combat, Bayonetta can take advantage of situations a lot more when enemies are slowed down. We're going to be doing more of the jump punch cancelling, but this is the last time that you will see it because we're going to go into the store and buy a technique for better movement. And that technique is air dodge, which is pretty self-explanatory, but it allows Bayonetta to dodge the air, which is what you're going to be seeing now. So this is a faster movement through the air that we now have. Throughout the run, we get better movement as we keep going along. In this little dome, there is a vase, and in that vase is arcade bullets. Might have heard me say briefly before that there is a minigame in between chapters. We're going to be playing that minigame after this chapter, and getting those bullets from that vase will give us extra bullets for that arcade game. So that's going to be necessary for the run. Now something else about Bayonetta is that she can take the weapons away from enemies. Like right now, we took the Angel's weapon, which is a halberd, and she's using it as a stripper pole. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Now I have to look out for... There should be an enemy coming down. There he is. He's really high up. Okay. Another thing that Bayonetta can do to get an Angel's weapon is perform a torture attack. You didn't really see it because of the tree. But I torture attacked that enemy specifically because he has a ball and chain weapon, and I'm going to be needing that for an enemy who spawns in a bit later. So I'm going to try to take this wave down as fast as I can. Now we pick this up, and this is a Beloved, a larger angel type. What the Beloveds have is this red spot on their back. That is their weak point, so using the ball and chain weapon, we take them down by doing a lot of damage to their back. For a lot of larger enemies in the game, Bayonetta will do a climax move, which is this, where she summons one of her infernal beasts. This is Gamora, which she summons with her hair as the medium. For those who don't know, Bayonetta is a witch, so you're going to be seeing stuff like that a lot in this game. We're taking the axe from the Beloved after he died, because we're going to be needing that, and we pick up a disc. These discs, when you exchange them at the store, give you certain weapons. So we pick up that disc for a weapon that we're going to need a bit later on the run. Now this is a flashback. This is for the Turtle. I mentioned him a little bit in the autoscroller part. And what we're doing here is a technique called bullet climax, which allows Bayonetta to stay in the air and in one position and shoot a lot of bullets from her hands or her feet. And we take Fortitudo down first using that. We also use it against the Beloved here. We can also use it with the feet. It's a bit of button mashing, so I apologize if my controller is very clicky. And I want to stay in the air. As you notice, the Beloved is ramming the bridge up against the wall. If I stand on the bridge, Bayonetta gets like this little stagger animation. And I don't want that. We just want to continuously be doing damage to him. He's going to be coming back down here, and I'm going to be using the axe that I got from the previous fight to take out his health. Now, you'll notice in this animation, Bayonetta is on the platform with the Beloved. This is where you usually would verse him, but because we use the axe, which does so much damage to him, we can kill him before he even gets there. And that's the end of chapter 1. Hi, Ace! Ace Crowner is also a runner of this game. So, you might have remembered I got some arcade bullets from a vase. That is for this minigame, which I'm going to be playing right now. The reason why we play this minigame is because the points that you get in this minigame you can exchange for certain items as a reward for playing this minigame. And there's one item in particular that we need for the run that we can't get at the store. Okay, let me make sure I aim properly. Okay, well, that's okay. And the item that we get is the Magic Flute. The Magic Flute does an AoE burst to surrounding enemies in an AoE. But even though this is the no infinite flute glitch run, we can still use it, we just have to consume it normally. Now this is chapter 2, Figured City of Deja Vu. The first person that you fight is Jeanne. The first Jeanne fight is not very nice. She is probably one of the hardest fights in the speedrun. Mainly because she can dodge everything that she decides to do. Everything that you decide to do to her. Now what you'll be seeing here is whenever I do combos now, there will sometimes be these large feet or large hands that get summoned at the end of the kicks or punches. These are called Wicked Weaves, which can plant a lot of damage on Jean and other enemies. Now, because this fight is a flashback, Bayonetta remembers that she can do this one technique, which is Witch Walk, which allows Bayonetta to walk on the walls. So now for some parts of the game, you'll be seeing Bayonetta able to creep along some of the walls in the game. There's a statue to the side here, so I'm going to be interacting with it and then activating it to get a lightning bolt, because for some doors in the game, you can only go through them if you have Witch Time activated. So for that door in the new game run, we have to interact with that statue to get Witch Time. There's gonna be some angels here. First thing I do is I pick up one of them and try and ragdoll him into the others, try and put some damage out. And I'm just gonna try and punch and kick them to clear them out. Now, the one with the red cloak had an angel bow. I'm going to be using that to clear out some of these angels. And now, with the full magic gauge that I have, I perform a torture attack on the second one who has an angel bow because I want his weapon. First thing I do when the beloved spawns in is I use a magic flute, and then I use some of the bow to give him enough damage so that he goes away. And then there's only one enemy left because the angel flute, like I said, it does an AoE burst. So all the angels that were coming down got killed before they came down. So that's very fast. Now, if you have ever played Dark Souls, you might remember an enemy called the Bone Wheel. In Bayonetta, we have something that's kind of similar. That is like a wheel type angel called an enchant. They can be very mean, but using the angel bow that we got from the previous fight, we can take them down very fast. Now when I reach here, another fight will spawn in. I use another magic flute to clear out the wheels that are on the walls. Give a punch and a kick to this guy, and he's like, "Oh no! I need help!" He cries out, and someone comes along and says, "Don't you worry! I'm coming to save you." So now we have two beloveds in the arena. First thing I'm going to do is kill the one with the less health, and he will drop his weapon, and I'm going to be using that against his friend. Now we see the Infernal Beast once again, Gamora. He's very hungry. For some of the climax moves, you'll notice that I won't do the Gigaton prompt. That is because it will be slow. The animation is slower because he'll do this like munching. So for some things we don't do it, but for others we will do it. Now we pick up this disc. This is another one for a weapon that we're gonna get at the store. First thing I do for this fight is I torture attack the angel in the back because I'm gonna need his weapon. He wasn't very nice. Usually this one can do this move where I get Witch Time, but he decided not to do that today, but that's okay. So I'm gonna be collecting the weapon. This wall you usually interact with to create a platform to get over here, but using the air dodge technique that we got at the store, we can get over there without having to do that. Now, we're going to use a helmet as a stripper pole in front of Fortitudo's face, like you do. And now I'm going to be shooting a lot of bullets into his face. It was very nice he gave me a fireball. Sometimes he can do a bite, but he didn't do that. So the other dragon head of Fortitudo tries to bite, but standing in a spot where he can't bite us, he doesn't bite us. Throws the building up, he tries to shoot a fireball at Bayonetta, but Bayonetta says, "No! I'm gonna throw this building at you." So he throws the building at him. An average Tuesday, yeah. This game is very flashy. And that's the end of chapter 2. Now we're going to go into the store before chapter 3 because we're going to be retrieving the weapons from the discs that I had collected, as well as buy some techniques and items. So the weapons that we are going to be getting from the store, the Gates of Hell, which is the name of the store, which is great, are the Onyx Roses and the Shuraba Sword. We are also going to be buying some Yellow Moon Lollipops, as well as 2 techniques which are very important, the Stiletto technique, as well as the Afterburner Kick technique. These 2 techniques are very important for quite a few skips, as well as movement tech along the run that I'll get to show. At the start of chapter 3, we equip the sword, as well as the Onyx Roses, which are a type of shotgun, and the Yellow Moon Lollipop. So for this fight, these enemies are on fire, so I cannot touch them normally. So I'm going to be doing this slice with the sword to try and do this slice surrounding Bayonetta to clear them out. I also want to try and get Witch Time where I can. I just let him hit me, that's okay. I'm not in a great spot either, but... Excellent. Now, you might remember, yeah, the stiletto technique that I bought, with a combination of the sword, does this movement. You're going to see this movement quite a bit in the next few chapters, because this is going to be the fastest movement that we have right now. There's some beloveds there, but we can just flip past them, because it's not necessary to verse them. We get introduced to a new angel type. This is called a Fairness. They're like a dog-style angel. Oh, he ran away from me. And we use the Onyx Rose as bullets because of the shotgun. Even though they have a short range, they can do a lot of damage to them. So it's very good to have them for the run. Now, usually you have to interact with those statues to get Witch Time to go through the fire. However, we use a Yellow Moon Lollipop. Yellow Moon Lollipops give invincibility, so we can go through the fire without having to do that. Also here, instead of going across the buildings to the top there, we can use the air dodge technique to flip down the middle and get to our destination.
Can I read some donations?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, we got 2 donations. One donation from Cray Denver, $20. That's rank commentary every year. Watching Gala speedrun at 5 AM with no VB long neck.
Thanks, Cray.
And then we have Calum with $10 saying, "You are doing awesome, this block."
Thank you. So this fight is, yeah, two of the dog-like angels. And we took them out. So now we have a little bit of cutscene. It's gonna be a little bit of button mashing coming up, so I'm just gonna try and mash as much as possible to try and get halos. But thanks everyone. So we are now in the underground, and there is a skip that we perform in a little bit, so when we get there I'll get to show you. This is the catacombs. You might notice in front of me there is a bridge. Usually to progress you need to go across that bridge to get to the end of the chapter. However, in the speedrun, with the techniques that we bought at the store, the afterburner kick technique as well as the stiletto technique, we can perform this movement through the air and get to that platform that is in front of me without having to go across the bridge or deal with the bridge breaking. Or we can get across like so. Because yeah, there's like an animation where the bridge breaks, and when you play casually, you usually have to go through a portal and reverse time and fix the bridge and all that sort of stuff, but we don't have to do that in the speedrun. Using those techniques, we can get across like that. So now, I'm just going to be doing more of the stiletto with the sword to get to the end of the chapter. And in the next chapter, we will be in this setting, which is a Colosseum, which I'll get to show you. My remembered Fortitudo, we've seen him a few times, the dragon-like angel. We're gonna now be versing him in a glorious arena, which is the Observatory Colosseum, as you can see on the map. In chapter 4, the cardinal virtue of fortitude. First thing I'm gonna hope for is that he decides to bite. He was good and decided to do that. What I'm gonna be doing is tripping him over by doing bullet climax with the guns, and now while he is on the floor, try to do enough damage to him, because once he receives enough damage, he will fly off to go to the next phases. He flies off to sit above there, perch himself above there. So yeah, you're going to be seeing bullet climax used a lot more. He breathes fire and the floor starts to break a little bit. I just moved to make sure that that doesn't interrupt me. There's some platforms that emerge, and now Bayonetta gonna suplex Fortitudo. She was also apparently a wrestler in her free time, so got a bit of button mashing. Gonna be slamming him on the floor. And she rips off one of his dragon heads. But he still has one more head that we need to deal with. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and stand in a specific spot. Because when he lowers his head, I can dodge his head to get witch time. And trip him over. And then by doing so, we do not do the grab prompt because the grab prompt is slow. Instead, we do enough damage to him so that he will fly up again. So go into the next phase. Cool. So same as before, he will breathe fire. And it's time for suplex number 2. Gonna rip off his other head. This one I find a bit harder to button mash for. I usually get 900 rather than 1000, I think because you have to button mash a little bit more. But that's okay. I try and mash as much as possible because there is a shop after the next chapter. So I try and make sure I have enough halos. And now he's not looking too great with both of his heads ripped off. So he's very angry right now. And he'll now verse us in a little bit of a different setting. What you're going to be seeing used is the sword used a lot more. For bosses in the Bayonetta speedrun, we use the sword quite a bit. For some bosses, we only use the sword, and that's because it's very good to use against them. He summons these spikes. Usually what I do when he summons these spikes is I would do a bullet climax. But he already had all his health taken out, so. Now she's gonna fling him off. And she will summon another one of her infernal beasts. But this one is a little bit different from the one we saw before. It is a bird. Now the bird's gonna take the daylights out of Fortitudo. He not having a good day. And that's the end of chapter 4.
I have another donation.
Yeah, sure, you can read it.
$5 from D9 saying, "Good luck, Gala. You're doing great, heart."
Thanks, D9. And thank you for all the donations so far. It's for a good cause. So the next chapter is chapter 5. We get introduced to a few new angel types in this chapter. And one of them in particular is very mean, very fast. And they don't have a lot of teeth, but they have a lot of claws. So I'll get to show them to you in just a minute. And it is Grace and Glory. They come in blue and red. First thing I do is I try and hit both of them with a Wicked Weave from the sword. And I purposely tried to kill the red one first because I'm going to be needing his weapon. The one that you kill first will drop their weapon. And for the speedrun, we need the red one. The red one has the fire element, whereas the blue one has the electricity element. And the one with the fire element is the one that we want for the run. Because they both do different moves, and I'll get to show you the move that this one does in the next fight, just coming up. We get introduced to another dog, Angel, but it's called a Fearless. And we perform that spinning move with the claw to take out one to the... okay. See, this dog has a tail. Oh, he he jumped around a lot. Okay. Yeah, we just try and take them out. Okay, that's fine. Now, there is a bunch of angels here, but I'm gonna just be bypassing them because it is not necessary for me to vest them. For a few fights in Bayonetta, we can just bypass them without having to vest them. But the fights that create an invisible wall that needs to be removed in order to progress will be the fights that we will be doing. We go through this portal and it puts us in this perspective flying through the air. There's going to be some little angels, but I just try and not hit into them because they will slow me down. So we're just going to be cruising on through for a little bit, and there'll be a fight at the end of here, which is my favorite, another Grace and Glory fight. So what I'm doing in these Grace and Glory fights is I'm doing this one combo where she does this sweeping move with the legs, because I want to trip them over so that they cannot be really fast and do damage to me. Okay, now this is another angel type. They look a bit like a stingray. They are called Harmonies. I wind up the sword here, and they will hopefully collect all together, and I can take them all out in one swing of the sword. I do want this claw though, so I'm gonna have to travel a little bit just to get it. Also in this chapter, I'm picking up these disc pieces. In some chapters in Bayonetta, the disc pieces are split up. So for this chapter, I want to collect them for a certain weapon that we're gonna need on the speedrun. And I would say it's probably one of the most important weapons for the speedrun. So here, we get introduced to two different angel types as well. I shoot the guy in the head so that he will fall down, and then using the claw, I try and do as much damage to them both as possible by spinning in between them. Footstool. Okay, so there's fire on the floor. Just make sure I don't hit any of that. Now in front of us, there's one of the doors that you need witch time in order to go through. So Bayonetta needs to go up here for the new game run to interact with these statues, to gain access to these statues, to get witch time. But in order to gain access to them, you need to defeat this fight. Okay, well. So I just defeat them like that. And I collect the claw for something that will be coming up a little bit later. So now having access to these statues, I interact with them. We activate the lightning bolt. Get witch time and go through the door. There is a little skip here. Using the afterburner kick technique, we can jump up that wall instead of having to go around the snake way. And we'll see if I can get this trick. Let's go up here. Platform starts to break. There's an inspired flying around. Okay, well, that's not good. That's okay. There is something you can get here if you go up really fast, but that's okay. I might try and do it a little bit safe. So, try and get up here. Whoop. There's an inspired for this fight, so what I do is trip him over using the bullet climax with the bullets. We use the claw to get rid of the first portion of his health. Now something that we do to some enemies in Bayonetta is that we do not perform the climax animation because the climax animation is slow. We also do this for an enemy a bit later. And we wait for the enemy to come back. And when they come back, they have only a small amount of health left, and we can just take them out that way instead. Now, because we have all the disc pieces, I'm going to be going into the store and exchanging them for a certain weapon, which is the Durga. The Durga is a set of claw-like weapons with the elements of fire and lightning, and they kind of remind me a bit of Grace and Glory. And they're very important for the run, and I'm going to get to show you them in action in just a minute. We equip them to the feet, and even though they're fire and lightning, we only use the fire element for the speed run. So this is Temperance. He has some noodly looking arms. We're not going to be dealing with him right now. We're going to be seeing him a bit later, but now we're just going to be going on these platforms and seeing who we are actually going to verse. Which is Jean, the second Jean fight. As you can tell, the Durga can plant explosives, and you can see how much damage it just does to her health. We also use a yellow moon lollipop, which is why Bayonetta has this yellow glowing color, and we use the yellow moon lollipop so that none of the combos that we do will get interrupted. After you complete this fight, you get a technique which is called Panther Within. Panther Within is the fastest form of movement that we have on the speedrun. So from now on, you won't be seeing the stiletto technique with the sword, you'll just be seeing Panther Within, which is running in Panther form. Cool. I'm going to be playing Angel Attack after this chapter, so if there's any donations that need to be read, this is a good opportunity to do so. Just gonna try and aim to hit them. Reason why I'm playing this... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. With $8 from... Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, bad names. It's bad. Gala is a beast. Enjoy the run while eating corn and driving my tractor.
Thanks. Hope you're having fun. So yeah, the reason why I played the minigame is for magic fleets, which I'm gonna need for parts of the run as well. So now before this chapter, we're going to go into the Gates of Paradise. Before the Gates of Paradise chapter, we're going to go into store, because we need to buy some techniques as well as items that are now available. Techniques such as Bat Within and Crow Within. Crow Within is important for some skips along the run, which you'll get to see. Also going to be buying more Yellow Moon lollipops, which will be necessary. This is the Gates of Paradise. We start off with the Panther Within movement, and you'll be getting to see, hopefully, the Durga used against the smaller angel types. The explosives are very good for clearing out waves of smaller angel enemies. Coming up next, we have a skip. Usually you have to interact with those two statues that I'm bypassing. However, using the afterburner kick technique as well as the crow technique, you can latch onto that side of the building and you can skip a whole fight that you usually would have to do that creates water platforms for you to get on top of there. By using those two techniques, we don't have to do that fight. We can avoid having to do it. Is that all of them? Yeah, it is. Okay. I just have to go across these platforms because they're necessary to open these doors. Oh. I meant to press close, not open. Leave me alone. Okay. Gonna try and kill the red one first if I can. So I can do his weapon, activate it straight away hopefully, or maybe not. Try and get witch time. And then use it against the other Grace and Glory fight that comes out. So yeah, there's gonna be some angels here, but it's not necessary to vest them, so I'm just gonna be bypassing them. So in this room, we get introduced to a new character, which is Little Cereza. She is in that purple dome that you see behind there. And we have to protect her from these angels, so we're just gonna be using the Durga to blow them up. Then there's a larger angel who pops out, and we just blow him up too. So, there's a lot of blowing up enemies in this run. Might have seen Little Cereza, she was a little girl that was next to us. Gonna be using the sword to open this wire door, and we still have to protect Cereza because now she's getting chased by a beloved, oh no. So what we have to do is throw as much debris behind us so that he doesn't catch up to her, because she is what decides how fast this segment is. And we want her constantly moving, we don't want her getting interrupted by him, if we can. Sometimes she falls over, like that. But we just have to try and encourage her to keep moving. Keep moving, Cereza, it's okay. Oh, I didn't need to do that one. That's okay. And then that segment ends. We go into a portal, and we're now in Paradiso, or Paradise, where all the angels hang out. And there's some dog angels behind us, but hallelujah, from above there are fireballs from the sky, so we don't have to actually deal with them. The fireballs do it for us. We do have to deal with the beloved though. So, like the other beloveds, this beloved has a weak point on his back, so I'm going to be trying to plant the Durga explosives to do a lot of damage to him. I use the afterburner kick to try and get height, because he is quite a large enemy to get up his back. And this is one of the animations you can't skip in the game. And it's like the beloved being like, oh no! My child, you took my child away from me. So yeah, he got eaten. Now we find out that the person holding little Cereza is not Bayonetta. They have a halo. That's Bayonetta in the back. So we still have to save Cereza. I use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these lasers will interrupt the movement or do damage to me, so that I can go as fast as possible. And we have to find out who this imposter is. Trying to be Bayonetta. It is a Joy. Joys are like a humanoid angel. One thing these Joys can do is they can duplicate into 2 enemies. So we try and take them down as fast as possible so that they don't get the opportunity to do that. And just try and take them down as fast as possible, like you do in a speed run. But try and make them not do that. Cool. Now the next chapter is a boss fight. You might remember this one character I pointed out, whose name is Temperance. He had like some noodly looking arms. Gonna be versing him now in the next chapter, which is the cardinal virtue of temperance. Now for his boss fight, we're gonna be doing something special. Whenever Bayonetta... Okay, wait, hold on a minute. Whenever Bayonetta has Durga on the feet of one weapon set and then some sort of firearm on the other, during the kicking animation of this combo that I'm going to be performing, if you swap to the weapon set with the firearm or gun, Bayonetta can shoot bullets from her feet during that animation. So during this kicking animation, I change weapon sets and I rapidly press the kick button so that she will shoot bullets from her feet. This is an exploit that you can't do with other weapons. And it does a lot of damage. A very high damage combo. On each of Temperance's arms, he has these capsules, which I'll be breaking open, and Bayonetta will summon these hands to grab him, and we're going to be ripping off his arms. We've ripped off one arm, and now we have to rip off the other. So using the exploit, I shoot a lot of bullets at his arms, so that he will do this. After he receives a certain amount of damage, he does this punch, so I can crawl up his arm. And we use the sword to crack open the capsule. Then we get the climax prompt. Temperance tries to struggle. He's like, no, don't touch me! But he gets punched in the gut instead. And we rip off his other arm. He still has capsules on his body though, so we have to break those ones open as well. There are 3 on his body in the new game run. New game normal run, I should say. So we just have to break them open. Because each of these capsules is for the force field on his face. Once you break them open, the shield gets removed. He's like, what's going on? Who's that? And we're ready to go too. So I use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of my combos will get interrupted. And then I get rid of the rest of his health using the Shiraba sword. I got this one! I find this one really hard to button mash for, but I got it, so that's good. And that's the end of Temperance's boss fight. the next chapter has one of the biggest skips in the whole speedrun, so I'm very excited to get to show it to you. And this is in Route 666. This chapter starts off on a setting where you are on the road with some angels on cars and trucks. My truck. And first thing I'm going to try and do is get Witch Time to push these larger angels off. Then I'm going to use a magic flute in the corner to clear out the angels to that side. I think one of the larger angels survived. Yeah, he did. Oh no, he didn't. Okay, he died. That's good. And we just blow them up. The extras. Now, in this next fight, there are some joys. First thing I do is use a mega yellow lollipop, and I should have gotten Witch Time there, but let me see if I can... Okay. I'm just gonna burst them. They can do this kick where you can get Witch Time. But I feel kind of goofy waiting for it, so we just blow them up. And now, after this fight, the skip is coming up. So, usually when you play this game for the first time, you have to do a whole motorbike racetrack to verse this angel, which is in the form of a car, Ironic. In the speedrun, we have something special that we do. As soon as this part starts and Bayonetta is on her motorbike, I go straight into the menu and I use a magic flute. Using the magic flute allows Bayonetta to go into panther form and we can go backwards. We see the score screen and we go over the finish line again, and the game will think that we did the whole motorbike track. So we skip a whole segment, and that saves probably about 4 minutes or a bit more than that. But the chapter's not over yet. We have some enemies that look a bit like Beloveds, but they're called Braves, and we just blow them up. So, yeah. So much for being brave. Okay. The next two chapters are set in Paradiso, or Paradise, and there's quite a few little movement skips that we do. So I'll get to show them once we get there. Very angelic setting. And I'm taking a turn to the right because behind this wall there is a chest, and in this chest is a disc piece. We are going to be collecting the disc pieces in this chapter for a weapon that we're going to need for in-game. So, I'm going to be performing a skip here. What I'm going to do is, using the afterburner kick technique, I'm going to be getting enough height to get on top of this sphere. Usually to get on top of this sphere, there is a fight below this sphere that you need to do in order to get on top. But using those two techniques, as well as crow form, we can get on top of here without having to do that fight. There is a little skip here. If you do afterburner kick techniques, you can let the gravity take you to the platform without having to go up the little way that it does. This is a golem, and there's a whole spiral way that you usually would have to go to the end. However, because the invisible wall is not high enough, we can get over that invisible wall, fall to the lowest ring, and save a lot of time. Because, yeah, the afterburner kick technique gives a lot of height, and it's a technique that we use for a lot of skips on the speedrun. For For this segment, we need to crack open these chests. In these chests are some enemies as well as pieces to a key. In the final chest, there is an enemy. When he pops out, I try and get witch time to defeat him. For his claw. And I'm going to be using the claw to the dog angel that pops out of this chest. Now, for this fight you get a key, but in the speedrun we don't need to use the key. We can use the afterburner kick technique to get across here without having to put the key in the keyhole, which forms platforms. But we still need to do that fight because it gets rid of an invisible wall that you need to get rid of to progress. And this enemy is a kingship. They can be rather pesky because they are moving. Why do I keep jumping? They have a red spot on them similar to the Beloveds. And we just do the explosives and they blow up. This is the second piece of the disc. Now after going through this portal, you're in this perspective again, similar to the one in chapter 5. But now we have Durga on the feet, which allows Bayonetta to do this faster movement by spinning. I try not to hit the vines, but oh, I just sometimes do. There's a joy fight here as well, but I can run in Panther form and avoid it altogether. See, there's the golem again. He tries to squish us. And this is where the final disc piece is. Final piece of the LP. So we have the full disc now, which we will exchange at the shop a bit later. The golem's gonna be here. He's gonna try and squish us, but using Panther form, we can run along and he doesn't catch up to us. Up ahead though, we are gonna be versing him. Thing about the golem is that the golem has several different forms. He has a dragon form. Oh. He also has a form where he turns into arms. He has also a form where he turns into a bird. Okay. Now, like an enemy previously, we do not do the climax animation because the climax animation is slow. Instead, we wait for the golem to reassemble. He will have a tiny bit of health, and we just blow up that health. And that's a lot faster than the animation that plays. Because the animation is him getting punched around and all this stuff happens. Like a very flashy animation like Bayonetta is. So we do it like that because it's, yeah. Why? Because it's fast. Very simple. I want to be flashy animation. So, next chapter is also set in Paradise, but it's called Paradise, A Sea of Stars. First fight is you in a room with some joys. I'm gonna try and get witch time. And then just blow them up. Now after this fight, this gets removed and we can fall down here. I'm gonna try and fall in a certain spot if I can. I don't know if I'll get it here. But yeah, if you use the magic flute, you can, because it does damage to the surrounding area, you can get the doors that form the gears. We need the gears for this contraption. The final one is back here. And yeah, to get the gears you need to do damage to them. The flute does damage in an AoE burst, and that way you can get the gears that way. So now we can go this side. Gonna have some harmonies again, and they blow up. Very fast. Gonna see some familiar faces, except it's like, looks like Fluttertoodle, but it's probably Fluttertoodle's brother or cousin or something. There's Temperance. I want him to do something specific for me. I have to wait for him to do what I want. Because right now in the new game normal run, can't do damage to him unless he... Okay, good. And we're using the Durga exploit. I switched weapon sets so I can shoot a lot of bullets from the feet and take them out. Fall on this build. Ooh! Okay, that's fine. There's some of those wheels in here. I just wait a slight moment because they can be pretty mean. Crack open the back and we go on this platform to progress forward. Coming up is an enemy that looks very much like Grace and Glory. However, their names are Gracious and Glorious, and you cannot get witch time from them, which can make them very hard to deal with. But using the combo that trips them over, we can take them out fast. He had a little bit of health left. That's okay. Now that is the final set of enemies that we need to verse for this chapter. Usually there is another verse that you need to do, which is to the left, but in the speedrun we have a skip. We go forward, and using the afterbender kick technique, we can get on top of that ledge, which is out of bounds, and we can fly and skip over that fight. Oh, I didn't do two, that's okay. So I do two, Electron do another one, and I can get on top of here. Now I go into Panther form to jump, then go into bird form, and we can fly over, like so. And we skipped a whole fight that was like below us. We can do it that way. Yeah, I practiced this skip a lot, but that's okay. Coming up next is a chapter dedicated to a boss fight. So I'll get to show them to you. But before the boss, there's just a few angels that we need to get rid of. And for this boss, we are only going to be using the sword. And this boss is Justitia, which is Latin for justice, in the Cardinal Virtue of Justice, which is what this chapter is called. What I'm going to do is try and do enough damage to his head, and we're going to be running up this limb, or tongue, I guess you could call it, to then reach his face. Okay, I should have done that. That's okay. Bayonetta gives him a nosebleed, kicking him in the nose, and we're gonna chop off the tongue. I remember when I first started doing runs, everyone was like, ew, this is so gross. Each time I cut off the tongue. Anyway, now I'm falling down here ASAP, because if I don't fall down, I have to wait for Justitia to break the platform for me anyway. So we want to go back to attacking as soon as possible. And yeah, he can also decide to break the platform in that way too. which is not very nice because it means I have to go to this platform and it's a little bit of time loss. Now, for this, tries to throw a boulder, but Bayonetta's gonna punch up this boulder, punch him in the face too. And we're gonna run up the limb again. Impactful. Try not to get damaged by the like discs that go around. We're gonna chop off the other one. So there are three tongues that we need to chop off. So I've chopped off 2, now there is 1 left. And yeah, the boss can also vomit these plants that are not very nice, so I just try and break them so they don't disturb me. Now we have 2 bottles we've got to break up. We just mash through them. And that's the final tongue. However, it's not over yet. We still got a little thing to do. Has this animation like he wants to explode. He's not very happy. He's very angry. And we punch him in the nose. Now Bayonetta will summon another infernal beast, but this is one that you haven't seen before. It is a big centipede. So Bayonetta summons a centipede, and we're gonna strangle the boss. So, next chapter has a skip as well. It's probably one of the ones a lot of people like. And this is The Broken Sky. The setting of this chapter is on a plane. First thing I'm going to do is go to the side. There is a chest behind this wall, and that chest has a magic flute, which I'm going to be using near the end of this chapter that you'll get to see. Might have noticed, for some reason, the plane was breaking up behind me. Those were Jean's Wicked Weaves, so you can guess who is in this chapter. But for Jean, there is a fight for Jean in this chapter. But we have something special that we do in regards to her fight. Oh, he is very far away from me. Now, for this one, activate the claw, and I'll just try and take them out. Now, for Jean, usually you progress this way to go to the boss fight. However, in the speedrun, we go backwards. Because this whole plane is a physical object, you can make it on top of the plane, like so. Jean's fight is to the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to go slowly into her boss fight for her health bar to appear, and she will follow us down here. We make her follow us. Oh gosh. And we kick her off the plane. Like so. What happens when you kick her off the plane is that her health will get erased and drop to 0 like so. We enter the fight as normal, triggering her cutscene, but instead of versing her, she drops dead instantly in the fight. So that's a very good skip. I was a little bit nervous because I didn't get witch time from her first wicked weave, but that's okay. In our arms we have little Cereza. We have to protect her. In the cutscene she's very scared. So I have to protect her from the angels. Just gonna be blowing them up. You might remember the magic flute that I collected. I'm gonna be using that in just a minute. For this fight, there are harmonies. I'm gonna wait to see a blue aura from them, which means that more harmonies are spawning in, and I use a magic flute to clear them all out in one hit. And that's the end of the Broken Sky. So we were just on a plane. The next chapter is a boss fight, which is in the ocean. In the Cardinal Virtue of Prudence. This boss's name is Sapientia, and on each of Sapientia's legs, he has these porcelain faces. The first objective is to break each of these porcelain faces. So the first two I will be breaking are the ones on his left legs. After breaking these two faces, he will dive. And he'll try and do some bites while I'm cruising around, but I'll just move so that he doesn't get a chance to. And he will come back again. So now he still has faces on his other legs, and I'll be breaking them open as well. I use a punch kick punch combo with the sword, because the wicked weave with the sword will reach his faces. After breaking the faces, we have a climax prompt. Bayonetta will summon another infernal beast, but this one is different. It is a big hairy spider. And the boss says, "Oh no! I don't like spiders! I gotta run away." But Bayonetta's like, "Oh no, you didn't! You're gonna go towards this spider, mate." And she's gonna grab her and direct him towards the spider. I just sounded really Aussie then. Now, when directing him towards the spider, there are going to be some of these prompts to hit him in the face. Just have to make sure I hit them because I'll lose a lot of time if I don't. The spider chomps Sapientia's face, and the shield that was covering his face is removed. Now that it's removed, that is the weak point. So I'll be trying to do damage to his face from now on. One thing that Sapientia can decide to do is that he can decide to dive multiple times without warning. And I hope that he does not do that because that is time loss. But he gave me a bite so I could get witch time, so that's okay. We have to direct him towards the spider again. Gotta make sure he doesn't go all unruly. Make sure we punch him in the face. Going this way. And now for the final part of the boss fight, we are going to be going down a water vortex. Sapientia will pop up at the end. We're going to be using punch, kick, punch combos with the sword. The wicked weave or the sword can reach him. He will push us back. And as he does, I'm going to use a yellow moon lollipop. And I'm going to continue doing the punch, kick, punch combo with the sword, which will reach him. And the yellow moon lollipop is so that none of the lasers will interrupt the combo, so I can continuously do damage to him. She gonna summon big Spooter. He's really big now. He's a big spider. And it looks like someone is gonna turn into someone's lunch. Like so. Like the spiders down in Australia. And that was the Cardinal Virtual Prudence.
I should have been a pole dancer.
Now, before the next chapter, we're going to be going into the store. Might have remembered in a previous chapter I was collecting disc pieces for a disc for a weapon. We're going to be retrieving that weapon now, as well as buying an accessory, as well as some consumable items. So we're going to go into the store. And the weapon that we are going to be getting is the Kilgore, which is a set of rocket launchers. We're also going to be buying Celine's Light, as well as Bloody Rose Lollipops. Gonna buy an extra one just in case. As well, and also Yellow Moon Lollipops. And a Mega Purple Lollipop. I might just buy one extra one too. And now this chapter is Isla del Sol. The start of this chapter is a shoot 'em up sort of segment, and I equipped the Kilgore as well as the red lollipops. The Bloody Rose Lollipops give extra attack damage, which I'm going to need for some of the mini bosses in this shoot 'em up segment. This shoot 'em up segment is pretty repetitive. You're going to see a lot of enemies that you've previously seen in the game. Thing to note about this segment is that enemies will always spawn at the same spot, like the waves are always the same. So we want to just know where they're coming and shoot them down as soon as possible so that the next wave can come in straight away. But yeah, this chapter is a bit of repetition, so this is a good donation reading part if there are any donations that need to be read.
We don't have any donations, but I was gladly happy to announce that all donations are benefiting the Save the Children Foundation, so keep up donations to rescue some children.
Thank you. Yeah, this is pretty chill. So if anyone wants to donate and have their donation read on stream, this is an opportunity to do it, because I think this segment is like 5 minutes of shoot 'em up. It's a little bit repetitive, so it's a good opportunity. If you know any good jokes, you can say some good jokes or fun facts. So yeah, this is a good opportunity to do that. Be here for the Save the Children. First mini boss isn't inspired. You don't really see him though because he goes down very fast. So yeah, this is pretty chill. I'm also sorry if you can hear my button clicking. I hope it's not too loud. I feel like my controller is very clicky by comparison to others. Yeah, it's for a good cause. Something about this segment that I do is that I alternate between two buttons, hence the clickiness, so that I can shoot a lot of the bullets. And for some parts, some angels thought it was a good idea to hijack this this ship, so we just have to blow them up. Damn hitchhikers. These are some more harmonies, the stingray angels. The enemies try and shoot these like green bullets, but the reason why I don't let them hit me is not only because I don't want to get damaged, but also when you get damaged, it consumes a portion of your magic gauge. It takes it away from you as like punishment, and I want to make sure I have magic gauge for the mini bosses. This is the second mini boss, which is Fortitudo, and we kill him very fast using the Bloody Rose Lollipop, which gives extra attack damage, as well as the Wicked Waves and shooting. Now, these are beloveds, except in this shoot 'em up segment, they gave them fireball rocket launchers. But knowing where they spawn in, you can predict them and shoot them before they get a chance to attack back. And the red circles that go around their bodies is a lock-on for the wicked waves. Not for the cheating, unfortunately. That's okay. Now this mini boss is a set of 3 inspired. So I use a bloody rose lollipop to get extra attack damage. Gonna be getting Witch Time for the last one and shooting him down. Oh, I didn't get the last one. These are 2 kings.
We have
Oh,
another donation.
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Alright, we have $20 from Waspy that said, Gala, thanks for being a friend and a great inspiration. Keep killing every run you do. The whole charity is just awesome as well. Thank you to the organizers. Thanks for the donation.
Thank you so much for the donation. Hope you're all enjoying it so far. Hey, thanks for some lead. So we hear that the music is becoming eerie. The final boss of this segment is coming up. The suspense rises. Who could it be that we haven't seen? Who could it be? Someone's coming up. It's... It's Temperance. So, first thing I do is use a bloody red lollipop. And then I use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these bullets will interrupt me. And... gonna be taking him down first, hopefully. I just got Wish Time so that I can just blow him up. Okay, now we are going to arrive to Isla del Sol. Just did the shoot 'em up part to get there, and we're gonna be versing Jean for the final time. Now this fight has quite a bit of tech, so I'll get to explain it. First thing I do is equip Celine's Light, which is the accessory that we bought, and use a magic lollipop. What Celine's Light does is that when you have a portion of the magic gauge available and you get hit by an enemy, it will activate Witch Time, like that, allowing you to take advantage of the enemy. And what we have now is the Kilgore rocket launchers on the feet, so I'm going to be performing the exploit that I had talked about before. Except this time, we have the rocket launchers on the feet, and those rocket launchers, usually, when you use them, are a very slow weapon that does a lot of damage. But, with the exploit, you can perform a heap of damage really fast. So, that's what we're gonna see. For Jean's fight, she has these missiles that we're gonna need to verse her on. Hello, Jean. I should have just let her hit me. But yeah, essentially what I want to do is get Witch Time and then shoot a lot of rockets into her face to do a lot of damage, so she will go into the next parts of her boss fight. But I need to get it in such a way that it... Okay, now something about Jean is that she will read you whenever you go into Panther form, and she will try and chase you in her form of Beast form. I have to be careful with my health here. And what this means is that whenever Jean comes out of her Beast form, she will attack you with her sword. And what this means is that attack gives us an opportunity to get Witch Time using the Celine's Light accessory, like so. So that we can take her out. Because each time, yeah, if you get hit by an attack to get witch time, you can then exploit her in witch time. So that's the final time that we'll be versing Jean. In the next chapter, which is A Tower to Truth, it's going to be a lot of repetition of enemies, so this is also a good donation reading chapter, so if you want to have your donation read live on stream, you can. So here we just, we see some of the flying angels. We have some... Oh! Some angels that are on fire. And I cannot attack them normally, because they're on fire, similar to the ones in Chapter 3. Because if I touch them, Bayonetta gets a little stagger animation. But yeah, we just take them down. Yeah. The in-game chapters are very good for if anyone wants to donate. You can even tell me what runs you have liked so far, or anything. Hopefully you've been enjoying it so far. So yeah, those were some beloveds, or maybe they were braves actually, and we just blew them up. Next we have Joys. Try and get witch time where I can. And then blow them up. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but that's okay. Okay, cool. I got some health. Oh, that one didn't die. Like before, I'm gonna try and defeat the red one first, because I'm gonna be needing the weapon for something that we have a bit later. So hopefully I can defeat him first. Cool. Which will be something special that I'll get to show off. Oh no, who's this? Punching through the wall! We'll get to see him in a bit. Got some enemies in this hallway. I don't know what they're doing. They must be just hanging out. For some reason. Now see, ooh, what was that? There's like some little noodle arms. It's one of Temperance's relatives. So what I'm gonna do is get into this machine gun contraption, and I'm gonna be trying to shoot him in the face. I want to hit him directly in the face because he will stagger if I do so, and I don't want him able to fight back. Okay, come here, buddy. After he receives a certain amount of damage, he will approach the platform to try and punch it. He's not very happy that we were shooting into his face. However, we're going to go into the other one and do the same. The time in between going in between those two gave him enough time to shoot, so I use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these green bullets will do damage to me or interrupt me. He can do a laser. Gotta try and aim in such a way that I stagger him out of it and then blow him up. Cool. The camera pans to the side and we see the moon. Might have remembered I talked about Witch Walk, which is something that Bayonetta remembered to do near the start of the game. We are now witch walking up this building. There are these elevators who come down, so I just jump in the middle to not have to deal with them. I use the yellow moon lollipop so that the vine will not interrupt me, and we use the claw to completely get rid of his health, which is a very good use of that weapon. And we chop off the tongue. Except this one only needs it once. He blew up. Cool. Now coming up, some of the final set of skips in the speedrun. There's some platforms to the side, but using afterburner kicks we can get up on top of this platform. Now this skip is a little bit of a bigger one. Usually you interact with this contraption, but instead we can use the techniques that we have to get to these platforms. Because usually when you interact with that contraption, these platforms will come for you to get across here, but it is not necessary. Now we have a golem. This golem has like a centipede form, as well as like the dragon form and the arms. And we're not going to be doing the climax animation because that is slow. We just wait a slight moment for the golem to regather. The golem will have that smaller bit of health. And we just blow him up. I did my did my explosive a little bit too early. That's okay. Oh no, too late, sorry, not too early. Oh, maybe it was too late. I can't remember. So yeah, that's the golem. Oh, we go through here. Which walk up this wall? There's gonna be another familiar face. Who will it be? It is Sapientia, or one of Sapientia's cousins. And what we're performing here... Ooh, okay. What we're performing here is a technique called... Oh, a technique that we perform here... Damn, is a technique called the dodge offset, which is a technique you get at the start of the game by default. And what it essentially allows you to do is it allows you to continue your combos after dodging. That was very sketchy. And it's very good for making combat a lot more fluid, and we use that against Sapientia there because we can plant explosives every time that we go in Panther form, and yeah, continue the combo afterwards. So with Panther form, the fastest form of movement, which is Panther form, in Panther form is jumping in Panther form, because each time you jump, you gain a bit of momentum each time. That was a bit scary. That was a little bit scary. Which form? Panther form. Now, the final two chapters of the speedrun are both boss fights that are extremely RNG heavy. I can lose a lot of time to both of these bosses, so we're gonna try and make it work. So firstly, we have the Lumen Sage. Don't want to save. I want to do the Lumen Sage, not the Lumen Save. So, my magic gauge isn't too good, so I'm gonna use that I bought. What I'm gonna try and do is aggravate him to come closer to do the combo that I want, so that I can activate Celine's Light to get Witch Time and do the exploit to him in Witch Time. This needs to happen 3 times. Each time that we erase his health, the first 2 times, Bayonetta will summon Infernal Beasts, but you can see what happens with the Lumen Sage. He is very powerful. He cracks Gamora's neck, so Gamora wasn't able to do it. Oh no. I shoot little bullets at him to try and aggravate him to do what I want. Shoot a lot of... Okay, that's fine. This is the second time. Bayonetta summons another Infernal Beast. The Centipede. Bayonetta summons the Centipede. And we see what happens. The Lumen Sage mocks us a little bit by combing his hair. And now this is the final time. Okay, no, that's not the one that I want. That's not the move that I want. No. Because if I let these hit me, see, Bayonetta goes into like this animation where I can't attack back instantly, and that is what I want to do. Okay, no, this is not very nice. Oh no, this is not good. Okay, come on, Boulder. Okay. This is why he can cost you so much time. He can decide to do extremely long animations like this. I'm gonna purposely let this hit me because I'll get back to attacking him straight away. Okay. That's fine. Now, for this part, Bayonetta shoots a bullet and there's gonna be glass in the air. I have to make sure that this bullet doesn't touch the glass because the glass will alter the direction of the bullet, and we just want to shoot it right into the forehead. But yeah, a boulder can cost a lot of time. We'll see what time this was. Yeah.
I should have been a pole dancer.
Right in the forehead, yeah. So now that was the Lumen Sage. Final chapter has a boss which is just as mean, if not even more mean. She's not very nice. But I'll get to show her to you. It is in Epilogue Requiem. This chapter starts off as you playing as Jeanne. You're not versing her though, but you're playing as her. What we do is we use a mega yellow lollipop so that none of these angels will interrupt the movement of this motorbike because we want to be going as straight and fast as possible with the motorbike so that we can, yeah, go very fast. So this is a good time for, yeah, if there's any donations that need to be read. You might be wondering though, why is Jeanne on a motorbike? It's because she's coming to save Bayonetta. And the theme that is playing right now is called Friends. So, that can maybe give you a little bit of a hint of the relationship between Bayonetta and Jeanne. I love the song that plays here. It's really good. Friends, yeah. So even though they fought each other, they're friends. Bayonetta, Jeanne come to save Bayonetta. Now I'm just gonna make sure I dodge the final inspired, and we keep on going. Yeah, we're gonna do jumping in the Lynx form to make it to the end of the chapter. End of the chapter. Let's make it to the boss fight. Sorry. There are these like fireballs that come down. Just have to try make sure I don't get hit by them. And yeah, this is my favorite song in the game that plays. It's really good. So we're coming close to the boss fight. And the boss that we fight is Jubilace the Creator. We're going to be using the sword a lot in Jubilace's boss fight. She has these hair strands. If she puts her hair strands on the floor, my objective is to hit the spheres on each of the hair strands to do damage to her. There are also these drones They can be really annoying, so I just try and take them out where I can. When Jubileus receives a certain amount of damage, she will go into her next phases. The next phases of her boss fight. She will start to summon different elements. The first element that she summons is fire. So I need to hit the hair strands of each of the hair strands that she puts down. We hit her with the sword. Gonna be some platforms that I'll need to jump on. We hit her in the face. She doesn't like being hit in the face. So we're gonna hit her in the face a bit more. And now she'll summon the next element. Which is ice. Might notice next to me there's like an ice ball. Have to make sure I don't get squished by that because that turns Bayonetta into a pancake. And for the ice phase, I just have to be a little bit careful because there is ice. Might notice these icicles falling down from the ceiling. If Bayonetta gets hit by them too, she turns into an ice cube. So we don't want that happening. Hit her in the face. That's right, Jubileus. Been making trouble. And now this elemental phase is the one that I hate the most. And I'll get to show you why in a minute. So it is a storm lightning phase, and Jubileus's hair strands are attached to platforms. But to get on top of those platforms, I need to jump to smaller platforms that I need to get jump prompts to in order to jump to them. I already stuffed up, but that's okay. The sequence of them is going to be different now, so I'll probably have to wait a little bit. Yeah, okay. That's okay. It's because that's okay. Try and make it work. This is okay. So we hit all the hair strands. And now she goes into this little bundle. But we jump onto the platform straight away and we hit her in the face. Now, like I said, Jubileus is an RNG boss. She has one move that she can do, which is just time loss, and I can't do anything, which is this. God, she hurt me. And all I can do is run away. She does like this vortex black hole where if you get sucked into it, you instantly die. And her hair strands cannot be damaged during that attack either. So all you can do is run away. Now this is a frisbee move. Okay. When you get hit by the frisbee, you turn into little Cereza. However, this drone is very annoying. And the reason why we let that hit us is because if you let it hit you, Jubileus will do the punch attack. Yeah, do that. I do not like these drones. Not very nice. So now we just have to get her health down. What will she do now? I'm just gonna punch, okay. Oh, I'm very silly. That's okay. So after we get her to this amount of health, Bayonetta summons a platform with her hair. And we're going to go up this hair platform. We receive a climax prompt. And as per tradition, we'll hit her in the face. However, Bayonetta loves to lock onto the drones, like so. So I just... Please don't lock onto them. No? Okay, well this is great. That's okay. I should have just done punch, kick, punch, honestly. But yeah, we get to see little Cereza, that's okay. So now she'll trip over and I'll let you enjoy this. With a combination of Bayonetta's hair as well as Jean's hair, together they summon Queen Shiva. And we're gonna punch God into the sun. With a Big Bang bonus! God looks pretty puny right now, don't she? But it's not over yet. We still have to hit Jubilees into the sun. And there are planets, and I need to make sure that I do not hit Jubilees into these planets, because otherwise we have to start this whole segment again. So, yeah, if there's any donations that need to be read, this is a good time too, because I'm just going to be cruising on through while I try and focus not to hit into them. So we're going on through. So Earth is coming up. Everybody wave. Everybody wave. There's Earth. There's Venus. There's Mercury coming up. Don't want to be on stream. And now we have successfully put Jubilees into the sun. But like any good murder, now we've got to do, got to dispose of the body. Just to make sure that Jubilees is 100% dead, we have to break up the body parts. Now, one thing to take note of is that on each of the body parts there are these yellow lights. These are the lock-on points, and I want to make sure that I hit them, because sometimes if I don't hit where the lock-on point is, the body part might not break correctly. So we're just breaking it up. Jean is also helping me. She's there. Thanks, Jean. And the timer does not stop yet, because in Bayonetta speedrunning, there are fights within the first set of credits that determine how long this set of credits is. So, we don't stop the timer until final input. So I hope you enjoy the groovy music. Let's dance, boys. Hey, Pro Skiller. So the first fight in the credits is the first Jean fight. But now we do a lot of damage to her.
Did I miss time?
Oh no, not yet, not yet. Oh wait, sorry, wait, what did you say?
If I miss time.
Oh no. On final input, I'll let you know, I'll call it out.
Okay.
Cool. So I guess I might take this time to just say that if anyone is interested in learning the Bayonetta speedrun, whether it's Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2, you're most welcome to join the Bayonetta speedrunning Discord, which you can find attached to any of the speedrun leaderboards on speedrun.com. If you want to learn, that's the place to be, where all the runners hang out and talk about the run. Okay, so this is the second fight, which is protecting Cereza. Oh. Let me just take it down. Where's the last one? There he is. And so the third fight third fight is coming up after this bit, and yeah, I'll just call out when time stops. But yeah, I also want to say a little shout out thank you to Ace Krana. He helped me. He helps me at my stream to get better at this run. He's a really good runner, so I want to say thanks to him. Okay, so this is the final fight. I'll call out time when we get there. Well, if I can do my inputs. And time stops now. That's the run.
Totally prepared.
Thank you so much for watching my run and for all the donations during my run. Thanks everyone. I also want to thank everyone who came to, all my friends who came to watch me today. This is my first time at a marathon, so I was really nervous, but I think we did a pretty good job. Thanks everyone.
Amazing job.
I hope you enjoyed the run. Like I said,
To
this...
end it off,
Yep,
we have one more last donation for you.
yeah.
It's $5 from KK. And good job, Gala. Nice run. Very informative commentary.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to show it to people. Cause yeah, this run doesn't always get the chance to be shown, so I was very happy that I got accepted to show it today. Thanks everyone. And coming up next, what run do we have next?
Next run is Max Payne 2, The Fallen of Max Payne from Matt.
Nice! Hope everyone will enjoy that run too. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.